coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn.
It's Lydia's Lunch Bunch.
LA's afternoon morning show with Mark and Sarah. We're covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com.
And today's show is powered by DeBlois Electric, building lasting relationships since 1967. From homes to businesses, their licensed, fully trained technicians handle it all. Repairs, upgrades, standby generators, EV chargers, heat pumps, and more. No job is too big and no job is too small. Learn more at DeBloisElectric.com. Also brought to you by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it. At 4 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com, and remember, the party starts at Ruper's.
We have the pleasure of being joined in studio today by audiologist and owner of Central Maine Audiology, Dr. Bryce Cropper. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thanks for your time today. We certainly appreciate having you here. Central Maine Audiology are hearing specialists in Lewiston and Rumford, and we are going to talk to Dr. Bryce Cropper all about Central Maine Audiology and a whole lot more coming up here in just a bit.
I have so many questions.
You have a lot of questions?
I have so many questions.
Right. What do you say we take a look at some headlines for Wednesday, September 24th?
Survivors and victims of the Lewiston mass shooting have amended their lawsuit against the U.S. government to include a Department of Defense report, which claims the Army failed to report violent threats almost half of the time. It details 8 specific failures the Army and Army Reserve made, which they say could have prevented the Lewiston tragedy.
The Trump administration claimed that taking Tylenol while pregnant can cause autism in babies. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists said there is no reputable study to support the claim and called the suggestion irresponsible. Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention Director Pateri Va said making a statement so definitive is, quote, unfortunate.
The Sun-Journal reports that changes to the Lewiston-Auburn bus service will begin on October 1st. The new route and schedule add more service to high-demand areas such as the Auburn Mall and Walmart, while eliminating fixed-route service to some outlying areas in the Twin Cities in favor of, quote, demand response zones where customers will need to request rides.
And Tim Cowan announced his bid for re-election for Auburn's Ward 2 City Council seat. Cowan is a public health professional and a 25-year resident of Auburn. He graduated from Bates College in 1991 and received a Master of Science degree in Public Health from the University of South Carolina in 1994. Now it's time for the weather.
Rain or shine, it's all okay. Grab your uke and start the day. You don't need perfect skies above. Hey, just a song and a little love. It is cloudy today with a high of 69 and a low of 56. Rain throughout the day tomorrow with a high of 67 and again a low of 56. And cloudy skies will give way to sunshine on Friday with highs in the mid-70s.
In sports, Nathaniel Lowe and Carlos Narvaez each drove in a pair of runs to lead the Red Sox over the Toronto Blue Jays 4-1.
That's craze balls. What?
That's what?
That's craze balls.
What are you talking about?
I can't believe they won.
They're a playoff team.
Oh, come on.
Kind of. We're still waiting, but they'll get there.
Okay.
They'll play again tonight at 7 in Toronto with ace Garrett Crochet on the bump for Boston.
Still just picture him knitting out there on the mound.
As long as he knits a playoff spot, we're fine.
I'm just knitting baseball gloves. Major League Baseball approved the use of the automated ball and strike system for the 2026 season. Human home plate umpires will still call balls and strikes, but teams can challenge 2 calls per game and get additional appeals in extra innings. A team will retain its challenge if successful.
Interesting.
The
robots are taking over.
Oh, it's the rise of the machines.
And CMCC Women's Soccer and Southern Maine Community College played to a scoreless tie. CM Women's and Men's Soccer will host Word of Life Bible Institute tomorrow in Auburn. That's your news, weather, and sports. And right now it's time for the podcast segment that is Sweeping the Twin Cities. It's time for famous people birthdays.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
Let's take a look at FPBs for September the 24th, shall we?
All right.
All right. Not a long list today.
No kidding. No,
Kind of.
it's very short.
It's very short. We're going to start off with actor and writer Nia Vardalos, who is 63 years old today. She played the female lead in My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Oh.
You remember that one?
I actually never saw it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you would be all over that
I know.
movie.
I didn't, though. I never
right.
saw it.
Bryce, you ever see that one?
I have not seen it.
No?
No.
Wow. It's only been out for 23 years.
Yeah.
So-
There's still time. Don't spoil it.
All right. I
Don't give
won't.
away the plot.
They received some Academy Award nominations for Best Original Screenplay and a Golden Globe for Best Actress.
Oh, good for them.
And actor Gordon Clapp is 77 years old today. He played Detective Greg Medavoy on NYPD Blue for all 12 seasons, and he won an Emmy in 1998.
Wow.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it for your FPBs. Yeah, kind of a scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
I've never heard of either of them.
No.
Nope. Me either. Nope.
Right. Those are your FPBs. Now it's time for some OTDs. It happened on this day. It happened on this day. It happened on this day.
Amazing.
Right?
Still.
I just hope that didn't cause any damage to our ears.
No, I
All
don't think so.
You good?
I'm
Are we
good.
okay?
Your-
The volume
your
was all right?
Volume was great.
We've had some guests that go like this with the headphones. They kind of separate them from their ears so they don't have to hear me sing.
I didn't know that was you. That's you.
Oh, that was me.
Are you the ukulele
Yes,
one?
yes.
Okay,
yes.
very
That's,
cool.
that is I.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We are somewhat talented.
Eh.
I love it.
On this day 20 years ago in 2005, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher were secretly married. They split up in 2011, which is 6 years. So that's like 30 in real people time.
Yeah.
Right?
Why were they secretly married? Did they think no one would notice?
I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want all the attention.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Hard to believe, but it was 34 years ago in 1991, Nirvana released Nevermind, featuring their smash hits Smells Like Teen Spirit, Come As You Are, Lithium, and In Bloom.
1990.
I know. Hard to believe.
Oof.
Great album.
So old.
So old. Also 34 years ago in 1991, Dr. Seuss died of cancer at the age of 87. His real name was Theodore Seuss Geisel. He never had children of his own. His first book was rejected by over 20 publishers.
Well, thank goodness for the 21st.
Because
Yeah.
what a treasure
legend.
that guy
Yep.
was.
Yep.
Yeah. Here it is. Here we go. 48 years ago in 1977, The Love Boat premiered on ABC.
They had the best guest stars on that show.
It was always famous people.
always.
But like B-list famous people who were like almost not famous anymore.
Right. Like Ted McGinley.
I don't even know.
Oh, he was on.
He was on.
He was Stephen Darcy on Married with Children. He was also on Happy Days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think most people would know him from Happy Days.
If you saw his face,
if you saw
you'd
him
be
on the
like,
Love Boat.
Oh yeah. 57 years ago in 1968, Harry Reisner and Mike Wallace hosted the debut of 60 Minutes. 91 years ago in 1934, Babe Ruth played his last game with the New York Yankees. And that's why they're the stinking Yankees.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other part is they clinched a playoff spot last night, and they may be playing the Red Sox in the first round.
Ooh.
Yeah.
236 years ago, in 1789, the first Supreme Court was established, with 6 justices nominated by none other than George Washington. It wasn't until 1869 that Congress set the number of justices to the 9 we still have today.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting little tidbit of history right there.
There we go.
Those are your FPBs and OTDs for September the 24th.
Whether you want a sit-down meal or a grab-and-go, Pat's Pizza in Auburn offers delicious sandwiches, pasta, salads, and pizza at family-friendly prices. Pat's Pizza, serving the L.A. area since 1985. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 85 Center Street in Auburn. Online at patsauburn.com.
Hi, it's Donna Harris from Phoenix No Limits Karate here with your daily safety tip. Don't share your location on social media apps. Let's all do our best to keep our community safe.
Don't miss Central Maine Community College's open house and homecoming weekend on Saturday, September 27th. Whether you're a future Mustang, proud alum, supportive family member, or a community friend, there's something for you. Visit cmcc.edu/homecoming for details and the full schedule. Now, we shift focus fully to our guest in studio, Dr. Bryce Cropper of Central Maine Audiology. And I was reading up on your bio a little bit. You're not from here.
I did not grow up here. No, I grew up in Utah.
Yeah.
And moved here in 2002. My wife's parents were here, so that was really the draw to come to Maine. And I divide my time now between Utah, aging parents, and some other things. But I'm here, some of the time, and they're doing remote care some of the time and administrative things. But yeah.
Well, we are certainly happy to have you here in this area. Can you give us a little bit of your background and how you came to the audiology field?
Sure. Maybe I'll start by some people, if I had a nickel for every time I heard the joke, "What do you do for a living?" and I say an audiologist, and they respond, "What?"
That's a good one.
But the reality is sometimes people legitimately don't know what an audiologist is. I'll get kind of a blank look when I say, "Yeah, I've heard that before." So an audiologist is a healthcare professional that specializes in prevention, treatment, evaluation of ear-related disorders, so hearing loss, tinnitus. Some audiologists focus on balance. Now, my guess is if you ask most kids, high school students, what they want to be when you grow up, very few of them are going to respond, "I want to be an audiologist." They probably don't know what an audiologist is or don't have any. So I was like that. I didn't know what an audiologist was until I got into college, and I ended up starting, interestingly, in musical theater.
Heck yeah.
Yes. So
I was a theater girl.
Did you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I did a lot of that growing up and enjoyed it, but you got to really be at the top of your game to be able to make a go at that. And I'm like, let's consider other options. And anyway, I took an introduction to speech language pathology and audiology course in college. And that's really, and I was more interested in learning about speech pathology. And so took that class, thought this was really interesting, kind of started down that road. And then at the undergraduate level, audiology and speech language pathology follow a pretty similar path in terms of coursework. But even the speech pathology students get some exposure to audiology and learn to do a basic hearing test. Like if you worked in a school system as a speech pathologist, some of them help with the hearing screenings and so forth. So kind of like this audiology side of this better. And so anyway, that's sort of how I was introduced to audiology and then transitioned and then graduate school things really diverge heavily. So that's my road there. Out of school, first job I took was in California, so worked there for a couple of years. And then my parents, or my wife's parents, were in Maine, so we ended up coming here for a job. And long story short, I won't go into all the details, but had the opportunity to buy that practice after working here for 6 years, and practice has grown since then. So
Awesome.
That's great.
And what year was that?
So we moved here in 2002. I had the opportunity to buy the practice in 2008.
Excellent.
Wow.
We've grown, added audiologists and providers, and I guess there are 7 total. We're not a huge practice, but there are 7 total between audiologists, audiology assistants, hearing instrument specialists, and office support people. 7 of us.
So what are patients coming to see you for?
The vast majority are coming due to concerns about their hearing. Sometimes they're dragged in kicking and screaming a little bit.
I was just going to say, or pushed in the door by their spouse who's
Sometimes
tired of going, "I just said that."
Yeah. There's some resistance from some, but that's the main thing. The other thing is we see a lot of patients for tinnitus who are just really bothered by it. There are a lot of people that experience that. Otherwise known as ringing in the ears. Sometimes people describe it as buzzing or humming or hissing. It can sound different to different people, but that's something that a lot of people find very distressing. And although there's not a cure for it, we always let people know there are definitely some things that help there as well.
And tinnitus is constant. Am I correct in thinking
Well,
that?
for many people, yes. Some people have it intermittently. I mean, I think most people will get that occasional, oh, my ear's ringing for 30 seconds, and then it kind of fades and goes away. But for many people, it's constant. It never goes away. And so it can be a challenge. Some people find over time they naturally just learn to habituate to it and it doesn't bother them. But there are people that are very, very bothered by it and have it has a big impact on their quality of life.
Yeah. What causes tinnitus?
Well, everyone pretty well agrees that we know there's some damage and or deterioration of the nervous system and the areas of the brain that process sound. There are some disagreements as to the exact mechanism that's going on, but everyone pretty well agrees that there's abnormal neural activity. Some people will use the analogy of like phantom limb syndrome. So if somebody goes off to war, they lose a limb or for whatever reason, they'll often say, oh, I still have sensation or even feel pain in that hand, even though it's not there. Well, we know the nerves from where that, used to transmit from the hand to the brain still are intact at some level. And so they say, well, there's nothing coming on here, so we're going to still send some signals to the brain that we perceive as that. So in some cases, tinnitus is due to damage from noise or other deterioration of the inner ear. And so then the brain isn't getting those normal signals, so it sort of fills in by stimulating that area. So we perceive that as sound every bit as real as if it were right there next to us.
It's a common symptom of women going through menopause, too.
Really?
Yeah, about 30%, I think, is the statistic because of the hormone fluctuation.
Yeah, some changes in the chemistry there can do it. So
I attended a lot of rock concerts in my teens. And of course, when you're a teenager or in your early 20s, you're indestructible. Nothing bad is ever going to happen. So I did not wear hearing protection at these concerts. And after the concert and for a few days after, my ears would ring. And I was told at one point that is irreversible hearing damage that I suffered. Is that true?
Well, I think there's even more and more evidence lately that suggests that early noise exposure does predispose you to hearing loss later in life. There's often what we call kind of a temporary change or temporary threshold shift in your hearing after exposure to loud noise like that. I remember experiencing that. I didn't go to a ton of concerts, but I remember going to a Def Leppard concert when I was in high school. And same thing, I came out, my ears felt muted, I had ringing in the ears. By the next day, midday, it felt like it come back to normal. So the ear kind of goes into this protective mode a little bit where it will dampen things down, but it is evidence of some damage to their sensitive little hair cells in the inner ear when you experience that. And it can be a cumulative effect that can cause some permanent damage over time.
My dad was in the Air Force, and so he was around planes a lot throughout like his early 20s and 30s. And for the last 35 years, my mother has been repeating herself over and over again until he recently finally agreed to go see an audiologist.
Oh, good.
Now he has hearing aids. So
Good.
That's a huge improvement in their relationship.
Yep. My dad is 86 and he has hearing loss. And my mom is like that. It is the worst part of my day is talking to him and repeating myself 3 to 4 times, louder each time.
It gets frustrating. Yeah. I'm sure that happens a lot where you have a spouse who's just like, I can't handle this anymore. Please help us. Yeah.
Oh, we see that almost on a daily basis. And the impact that you mentioned that it has on relationships is significant. And it's in defense of people that have hearing loss, sometimes people feel like they're not paying attention. So, people get angry, and it's usually not their fault, but it is something that people will ignore and not address and not treat. And it can make just a huge difference in relationships as well as other.
Yeah.
Why do you think people who do experience hearing loss are so reluctant to address it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have some thoughts. I'm sure it's individual for different people, but I think there is, for some, there's still a stigma of this is a sign of aging, and I'm kind of resisting that. I think that plays out. Some people, maybe due to outdated thoughts of what hearing aids look like, think they're, used to be very noticeable and bulky, and some people are self-conscious about that. Yeah. So I think that's some of it. I think for some people, they've heard stories of other people that have not had success with their hearing aids that end up, but the technology has improved so much in terms of what hearing aids can do, as well as they're really quite discreet now. And furthermore, you see people out and about all the time wearing their AirPods or earbuds that I think some of that stigma piece is like, hearing is probably a lot less noticeable than that. So I think that is improving, actually. People are less concerned about somebody seeing or noticing hearing loss. One thing that we've heard people say for years is that a hearing loss is actually more noticeable to other people than your hearing aids would be.
Yeah.
When you're constantly kind of asking people to repeat or straining to hear, you're not going to hide that from most people. You smile and nod when maybe you shouldn't have just smiled and nodded.
Right. It's inappropriate in context.
Yeah. Then that's probably going to be more noticeable than your hearing aids would be when you can be engaged in the conversation. And so I hope that stigma is less prevalent than it used to be. I mean, we certainly see a lot of people that, for whatever reason, but it can take some time. I know studies that they've done said that people often tend to wait. I've heard up to 7 years from the time that they probably should do something about their hearing until they actually do. I think some things that's shortening a bit, but it can often be at least a couple years where people are struggling and families start to get frustrated before they finally say, okay, it's time to go in and get it checked.
I wear glasses and contact lenses, and I can't imagine if I didn't wear them, like I wouldn't, and I don't see any difference. Like if your vision is bad or your hearing is bad, either way, you should probably make sure that you can correct it.
It's a critical sense.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate when people delay it too long. And the other piece to that is that there's more and more research, in addition to just the improvements in quality of life. When you can hear better, it's less strain, less struggle, less impact on relationships. There's a lot of research that is showing that even a mild hearing loss puts you at a greater risk of developing dementia. The Mayo Clinic and several other organizations, in fact, there have been over the last decade and a half or so, I think 50 different studies that are looking at this link. And they show that even a mild hearing loss puts you at twice the risk of developing dementia. And then the more severe the hearing loss, a severe hearing loss, you're at 5 times the risk of developing dementia. So there are other compelling health reasons not to ignore a hearing loss besides just the impact that it has on our communication.
Wow.
That's an incredible statistic.
I was just going to say that's a wild number.
Yeah. Some of the habits that our generation grew up with, I know I did at least, and I can speak to this, is a product called Q-tips. Where I used them pretty much daily up until my 40s. And then someone told me that every time you put a Q-tip in your ear, it's not actually cleaning your ear, it's pushing the wax further in.
You're not supposed to stick it in your ear.
And at that moment, it made perfect sense to me, and I haven't used a Q-tip since.
Well, I commend you for that. That's good. That's good.
What do you mean?
You're just supposed to use it to clean the outside part of you. You're not supposed
to
stick
use a washcloth for that.
Wasn't there there was a children's television show when we were little that said never ever stick a Q-tip in your ear?
You paid attention, but not everybody paid attention.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember hearing
sticking it in there.
Don't put anything smaller than your elbow in your ear.
Right.
You remember hearing that?
Yeah.
So now I use a product. I think it's called Debrox.
Probably.
Yes. Yeah. So
is that like a wicking?
Yeah. You put a couple of drops in your ear. You lay on your side for a few minutes, and then you shoot some water in there, and all the wax comes out.
Oh, neat.
And it'll come out. Yeah. It helps do a couple of things. It helps soften the wax, and it helps kind of break it down. There's a hydrogen peroxide component to that will help dissolve the wax. So yeah, Q-tips, it's interesting when you visualize what's happening with the Q-tip. And sometimes people put it in and they'll say, look, I got some stuff out, and you may, but the ear canal's relatively narrow. You're putting that Q-tip down. So if the visual I try to explain to people is think about like a muzzle loader rifle. You're kind of packing that wax down in. So I will look in ears and I'll see wax very deep up close to the eardrum. Wax is not produced that deep. So if it's in there, it's been pushed in or something.
Yep.
So, it's still pretty common for people to say, "Oh yeah, I use Q-tips," even though I remember hearing as a kid that you shouldn't do that. But not everybody did, or not everyone pays attention to it.
Apparently, I wasn't paying attention. 'cause
Mark.
I didn't learn until later in life.
Yeah.
And thankfully, my hearing is pretty decent.
Good.
Today, but it was quite a shock. Well, that
Yeah,
makes
Tracks,
sense.
right? It
Yeah,
makes
that-
sense.
we don't
tracks.
recommend Q-tips.
Oh, good. It's good to know.
To know.
Yeah, doing the right thing.
You had mentioned when we were talking about hearing aids, the use of earbuds or AirPods and things like that. Do you see any result of hearing loss from that? I mean, people have got those packed right in their ears all the time now.
It can certainly cause. Now, I always like to not have people feel like they can't use AirPods or headphones. I think the key thing is just keeping the level at a reasonable level. Now, what does that mean? I was used to saying it's different now that you have noise canceling, but if you kind of take that out of the picture, I usually would tell people if you're arm's length from someone and someone's speaking to you and you can't hear them, or if other people hear the music bleeding out of your headphones or earphones, so if you're a child or something and you're hearing the sound coming out, probably too loud.
Too loud.
So just a couple little rules of thumb to think about. But
Boy, those noise canceling earbuds are pretty cool.
Oh,
I can be from me to you and not hear a word you're saying.
right.
It's amazing.
right.
Kudos to Bose.
Yeah, they've done some great things with their noise canceling technology, and it's interesting because some of that noise canceling technology actually came from the hearing aid industry, because that's the number one complaint we hear from people that come in the office is, I hear okay when I'm in a quiet setting, when I'm in conversation one-on-one, but boy, I go out to a restaurant and the background, I can't hear in background noise. Now, we all will notice that sometimes if it's a noisy enough situation where, boy, I didn't quite catch all of that, but that becomes much more challenging. Even in a mild hearing loss, people really start noticing I'm really struggling in noise. So some of the that's a big focus of the hearing aid manufacturers and their research is how do we separate speech from noise to really maximize people's ability to understand it. They're making really good progress there. I think some wonderful technology that does a good job. Is it perfect in all situations? No. But Bose actually took some patents that one of the hearing aid manufacturers had in their noise reduction ability. So it's cool. Yeah. On an airplane or something, you put those in or
Not a sound.
yeah, it's really effective.
Yeah.
So.
The technology really has come a long way.
Oh.
I remember being a little kid, my great-grandpa Sammy had these great big hearing aids, and he would turn them off so he didn't have to listen to my Grammy. She would stomp her foot and be like, Sammy, turn your hearing aids back on. But he wouldn't be able to hear her. And now when I call my mother, she's like, hang on, I need my hearing aids to connect to my Bluetooth to my phone.
Yeah.
She's talking to me with her hearing aids so she can hear every word I'm saying. It's amazing to me.
Oh, it's come a long way. It's been exciting to see that over the years. I've been doing that. Most of the hearing aid technology that when I was in graduate school was still analog. The only way we could control them, you had a volume control, but we had these little screwdriver adjustments that we would make maybe to cut down the bass or cut down the treble a little bit. Now they're all digital. We use software to program them pitch by pitch by pitch. Most people don't lose their hearing across the board equally, so they might have more hearing loss on the higher frequencies, and that pattern can be individual, like a fingerprint for each person, how much hearing loss they have. So now we can very precisely program to that actual contour of someone's hearing loss. So, and then all the noise reduction capabilities, the Bluetooth connection to your cell phone, things have come a long way, and so it's been exciting to see people. It feels like when I first started this, people sort of tolerated their hearing aids, and now we do have people that come in and say, I love my hearing aids. I love the sound quality has improved immensely, and just their capabilities in more challenging environments has really come a long way.
Awesome.
It can change your life.
Yeah.
It
It can save your marriage.
can save your marriage. Yeah.
It can.
Yeah.
No question.
Like I mentioned, thankfully I have pretty decent hearing today, but there have been a couple instances in my life where I'm guessing it's due to wax buildup that I would wake up and not be able to hear very well.
Wow.
Couldn't hear the TV, couldn't hear my wife, and I'm like, oh my, this is terrifying.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't take it for granted, folks. Take care of your hearing. Bryce, on your website, which is great, by the way, it's hearmaine.com, you list 10 things you must know before choosing your audiologist. Could you go over a couple of those for us?
Yeah.
Sure. One of the things that we try to educate people about, and we've talked about it a little bit already, but we say one of the things, does your audiologist understand the relationship between hearing loss and your brain? The ears are the pickup mechanism, but the brain is really where we process what we're hearing. And so having that understanding of making sure that we're getting the cleanest, clearest auditory signal to the brain and how critical that is in what we're doing, and it's not just about the ears, is important. So we focus on the cognitive aspect of your hearing and understand that untreated hearing loss really can have a big impact on our brain health. So that's one thing that we highlight. One of the other things that we talk about on that, and I think this is true of most places, but we know that hearing loss and the adjustment to hearing aids takes some time for people to adjust to. I'm amazed with the newer technology that we have, how quickly most people adapt, but we want to make sure that people know that they have an adjustment period to their hearing. So if they're kind of, I'm not sure if this is going to help me or not, if we have someone come into the office, we may recommend that. They may say, okay, I'll see how this works for me. But we always have a 75-day period for people to evaluate their hearing aids. By law, you need 30. You're required as a place that may dispense hearing aids, whether an audiology practice or hearing aid dispensing location, required to give 30 days. But we want to make sure people have plenty of time to make sure in their real-world environments that it's making the difference, the life-changing difference that you talked about. And so we offer that 75 days. That should give people, 2.5 months or so to use them, make sure. And if not, then they can return them. We don't have too many people do that just because the technology's gotten so much better. But it's always nice to know that you're not stuck with something that you can't use. Right. So that's one other thing I would highlight as you're going. Make sure you know you've got a good
don't settle either,
thing.
Right? Don't settle for something if it's not right.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is there are different types of hearing devices. There are different levels of technology. Some do better, we've talked about noise reduction already. Some do a better job at that. And so if whatever you and your provider may start with, if that doesn't feel like it's meeting your needs, it's okay to take a step back and find something that's going to work best for you.
We talked a lot about the wonders of modern technology and how it has assisted audiology. In your experience, Bryce, what would you say is the biggest breakthrough?
Yeah, I think this transition from analog to digital, and that's happened. Hearing aids have been digital for 15 pushing 20 years, and there's sort of a gradual transition, but that has opened the door to just so many more capabilities in what we can do in terms of cleaning up the audio signal. So I think that's probably the biggest one. And then we just keep seeing, I think probably second to that is this Bluetooth connectivity, like you mentioned. And that's really probably just been in the last 5 to 8, maybe 9, 10 years, probably not quite 10, but in that time frame where the hearing aids, you've got an app on your phone. You can make adjustments right from that app if you want more volume or less volume or a little more noise reduction. There are settings on the phone that you can do. And then you can stream the podcast that we're doing today right into your hearing aids if you want to.
Wild, right?
So, in addition to phone calls and people listen to their audiobooks.
You can connect to your television.
You can. That usually involves, and most TVs don't stream directly in a format that's compatible, but there's a little device that you can plug into the audio of your television and it'll stream right into the hearing aids.
My dad uses it.
He does, yeah. That can be great. It can help with those little battles over the volume control.
Right. So something I noticed is that they always used to have the closed caption on the television because we couldn't hear it. Yeah. And now they both have hearing aids, so they don't have to have the closed caption on the television all the time. It's cute.
Yeah.
As someone who wears headphones for half of my work
Right.
day.
Yeah.
I'm now very cognizant of that, and again, thinking back to how I treated my hearing in my teens and 20s didn't serve me very well. But and the couple of scares I had, I keep my volume at a reasonable level, even though I am a child of the 80s and I liked my music loud. But
I hear you.
at my age, that's
hear
the
ya.
first thing that enters my mind. It's like,
Yeah.
would I rather hear tomorrow or do I want my music loud right
Yeah.
now?
That's smart. Smart to take a pause and
Yeah.
just think about
Yeah.
the level.
I think the older you get, common sense usually wins 90% of those battles.
One would think.
One would think. Sarah.
Yeah.
One would think.
Well, it's interesting. Just another statistic that may be interesting to people is that between the ages of 18 and 65, there's twice the incidence of hearing loss in men than there is women. You might ask why.
Really?
Why is that? I think, although women are exposed to loud noise, I think there tend to be more men engaged in louder activities, whether that's military service, whether that's hunting, construction.
Still
So you
pretty
think about that. So
male-dominated.
it tends to be a little more common in men than women, but there are lots of causes of hearing loss. Noise is one. There are hereditary conditions that hit men and women, aging-related hearing loss that can impact anybody. So I would say we probably see about a balance in our office. You think it would be more men than women? I'd have to go pull up numbers to tell you that definitively, but I think there might be a little more. We talked a little bit about some of this resistance to coming in. I think there may be a little more resistance for men to come in and do something about their hearing loss. Women maybe, these are overgeneralizations, but I think maybe are a little more open to seeking medical care for some things.
For anything.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing, but people that just ignore it or put it off or don't do anything. Right. But anyway, the incidence is a little higher because of the noise exposure.
Yeah.
I think vanity probably prevents quite a few people from coming in, not knowing now that the technology is so discreet.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would be surprised to learn that you, for the most part, don't even see a hearing aid anymore.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I
crazy.
think that's absolutely true. People are surprised. They say, oh, that's all it is. And let them look in a mirror and say, yeah, you hardly even see that. So yeah,
maybe like a little tiny
discreet
wire sticking out, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Bryce, this has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else about Central Maine Audiology that you would like our listeners to know?
No, I mean, I guess the only thing I would say is we have a location right here in Lewiston, been in Lewiston for, we're on Pleasant Street. It's our primary location. Then we do have a satellite location in Rumford, and we're there typically just one day a week in the Rumford location, but we have a great team. I get a chance to talk a lot about them, but we've just got some remarkable human beings in our practice, and love them, and we'll take good care of you.
Next year marks 30 years of Uncle Andy's Digest. What started as a beloved print publication has grown into Lydia Media, a full-service marketing partner helping local businesses thrive. From LA Metro Magazine and the Lydia's Lunch Bunch podcast to social media management, website design, and advertising across all platforms, we've got your marketing needs covered. If you're a business making a difference in our community, let's connect. Lydia Media is here to tell your story and help you grow. Lydia Media, in business, for business. Learn more at lydiamediallc.com.
Bryce, we like to close out the show with a segment called 3 Random Questions, where Sarah and I will ask you questions that have nothing to do with audiology. We're just trying to get to know you a little better as a member of our community.
Sounds good.
Sound good?
Sounds
All
good.
right. Bryce, what is your favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
I'm a dad of 5 kids. Most of them are grown now, so it seemed like there wasn't always a lot of unwind time. Now, I'm probably like a lot of people, like to just put the feet up on the couch, sit on the couch, put my feet up, and maybe grab a Netflix show with my wife or something like that. So it's probably not real original, but I do like to do that. If I have, I mentioned at the beginning, we're big theater. I grew up doing theater. We love to, as far as going out, love to go to theater productions and that kind of thing. So that's a big love of ours.
Any favorites?
I would have to say Wicked is right up there for a long time. Les Mis was probably my favorite, especially musical theater fans, but probably my favorite. Love Hadestown. I've seen that. Some newer.
Yeah.
Phenomenal show. Love that. Those are some favorites. We like to get down to New York occasionally and see things on Broadway. But there's some wonderful things here with Maine State Music Theater, and some of the other local stuff is great.
Portland Players is doing Anything Goes for one more week.
Yeah.
They're a great production company. All those tap dancers.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo, I can't wait. I'm going on Sunday.
Yeah, great show.
All right, my question for you is, if you could invite any three people, living or dead, to have dinner with you, who would you invite?
Ooh, that's a thought-provoking question. I think Abraham Lincoln would have to be right up there. Martin Luther King would be fascinating to get to know.
And they'd have great dinner conversation.
Oh, wouldn't they?
The two of them?
Wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, just sit back and listen to it. Yeah. And then as a third one, who would we put up there with them? I'm a Christian. I would love to have a chance to talk to Jesus Christ.
Oh, I feel like that would be an amazing conversation between
Wouldn't
the
it?
three of them. Yes, you could totally just sit back and be like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
100%.
You'd have a crowd around your table.
I know.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
We'd have to invite
A
more
lot of people would be interested in that conversation.
Yeah,
No doubt.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Bryce, final question for you. Putting your professional skills aside, what could you teach someone to do today with 100% certainty?
Wow. No professional skills. We just talked about tap dancing. I'm actually a pretty good tap dancer.
Wow.
I took tap growing up and did it in a lot of shows, and I don't do it much anymore, but I could teach, at least up to probably an intermediate level, I could teach tap dance.
We got to get this guy into CLT auditions.
Yeah.
Get him doing some community theater. That would be amazing.
A little anything goes, yeah.
Yeah.
When's the last time you were in a theater production?
It has been quite a while. My wife and I actually do some directing of things. My wife actually got her degree in musical theater, and so we had, for many years in Wyndham, we had a little children's performing arts studio, and so we did some productions through that and other sort of more musical review type shows. Yeah. But so I'm more of a director than a performer these days.
Well, we can change that.
Sarah can help you along with that. She has connections.
Recruiting him.
Right. Bryce, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you.
We certainly appreciate you. He is Dr. Bryce Cropper from Central Maine Audiology. And again, folks, you can go online to hearmaine.com for more information. Thanks to Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and DeBlois Electric for sponsoring today's episode. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam Ashby via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com.
Have a great day. And remember, don't bite your cat. And I will say I have bitten my cat.